Hey, it's time for TV Skywriter. Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to TV Skywriter. I'm Pat Murray. I do the Durham Skywriter, the Durham, North Carolina's online community paper. And on Sundays and other days as needed, I do TV Skywriter, which is a show where I introduce you to really cool people. Today's show is going to be really fun because I have actually, most of the guests that I have on the show become friends if they're not friends already. But Ileane is definitely a friend. We've been knowing each other for a couple of years. Ileane Smith, she's like a super expert / guru when it comes to live streaming, YouTube, and all those apps and all that stuff. So welcome to the show, Ileane Smith.
Oh, Pat, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate you for inviting me on the show.
It's going to be lots of fun. Now, let me just throw some names out. Ileane is like one of those people that you turn to when you need to learn something having to do with live streaming, YouTube growth, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm talking about, there are people like Daryl Eves, Tim Schmoyer, Nick Nimmons, and Ileane Smith for sure. And didn't you just celebrate a huge milestone in terms of subscribers?
On my YouTube channel, about 2 months ago, I reached 5,000 subscribers on the channel, which is really like a big accomplishment for me because I was struggling to get there. And then I increased my publishing schedule and I was able to get there with ease.
Awesome. Awesome.
Now, I just wanted to let you know that we do have some folks over in the chat. I see our friend
Fraser's
here. And Sabrina, hey guys.
Very happy to have you guys here. This is really fun. And here's the thing. I didn't know how to deal with the chat before. Who did I ask? Ileane. Just now, Ileane taught me how to, the term is to pop out the chat so that I can actually see it during the show. I couldn't do that before. So there you go. So Ileane, I want people to understand that this is not your job, that you are a 9-to-5er, but this is a passion that you've had for, I don't know how many years. Why don't you tell us?
Well, I actually started with blogging back in 2009. And I always love to tell this story because actually, my daughter is the hero of the story. And what happened was I work at a technical book publisher. So I'm involved with publishing and we do hundreds of thousands of pieces of content every year at work. And I heard of blogs before, but I really didn't know exactly how to really get into blogging and all that. And I was using the internet mostly to go onto Internet Movie Database and Wikipedia and stuff like that, right? So I wasn't really into blogs, but I knew that they were out there. Mm-hmm. And then what happened was my daughter, she had moved away. She had moved over to California because we're from Philadelphia. And she contacted me and said, Mom, I started a blog. So I was like, oh, well, if my baby's got a blog, I got to go and subscribe. I use air quotes because I didn't really know what that meant. I just knew I had to do it. So I went over, and back then we were using WordPress.com. So like I said, this is 2009, guys. So I started to follow my daughter. I'm filling out all this information, not realizing that I was not subscribing. I literally was starting my own blog.
Oh, wow.
So
that's funny.
I started blogging by accident and I got the bug, guys, because I found that it was empowering to me. And I found that I could put my content out there. I could put my message out there through the blog. And so I absolutely just fell in love with that whole idea. And that's how it all started.
What was the message that you wanted to get out?
Okay. Well, in the beginning, I didn't really know. I just knew I wanted to write. So my initial tagline, you know, you have to have a tagline, right, for your blog. And it was like, This blog is about love and life and music and anything else that comes to mind. And people were like, no, you can't have a blog like that. That's all over the place.
It's a good
And
start,
so,
though.
and so what I did was I started to get tutorials, because back then in 2009, guys, there wasn't a set place you went just to learn how to use WordPress. You had to grab a tutorial over here, a YouTube video over there, and all of that. So as I would learn, I would write about a blog post about whatever I learned. I remember even Twitter and thinking, this is the dumbest thing ever. When I first got on Twitter, I was
Really?
like, how stupid is this? But when I started blogging and I was like, oh, I can tweet my blog post. Oh, now I get it.
Wow.
So I truly came a long way from just knowing that things were there and that they were being used somehow, but not knowing how to capitalize on them. And so, like I said, as I would learn things, I would blog about them, primarily because I didn't want to forget, right? But also it was
Smart.
fun. It was fun. And people really enjoyed my tutorials. So
Now, how are they finding you, though? And back in, because 2009 for some people is kind of a long time ago. So how are you marketing yourself back then?
I joined blogging communities because that's one of the things that I found out that you could do. And one of the first ones I ever joined was called Blog Engage, which I'm still member of now, not as active as I used to be. Well, things have changed. So it was really a community where you would go and you would find like-minded bloggers. And then there was another one, a friend of mine named Hisham. He has a blog called Famous Bloggers. And it really was like all the famous bloggers had guest posts on his blog. And I remember the day that he contacted me, maybe via email, and said, I would be honored to have you as a guest poster on Famous Bloggers. And I was like, oh my gosh. I
You're
felt
famous.
like I hit the big time.
Nice.
Yep.
So how did you become the guru that you are today? Because again, well, actually, why don't you tell us what your latest blogs or rather tutorials have been about? Because I'm learning a lot from you in terms of how to deal with YouTube, how to deal with those, what do you call them? The apps that go along with, like YouTube Buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something new. What is it? There's a K in KD or KD or something. There's some new app that goes along with YouTube. I think it's for analytics, I believe.
Okay. The one, well, let's back up. So as I was looking for all these tools to learn how to use WordPress and what was the difference between WordPress and Blogger, I remember stumbling across this woman's video on YouTube, and her name is Lisa Irby. And because she's a woman of color and she's so articulate, and I remember sitting there looking at her saying, oh my God, I would love to be like that one day. Like to actually get on camera and to like tell people stuff that I know. Oh my God, that just seems so awesome.
That's exactly what you do.
And I ended up being one of her hugest fans. I joined her. She had a community as well, website Babel. She kind of shut it down now. But, you know, as I would, through my travels and following her, and I got lucky because she became my online mentor. And
Nice.
At first she didn't even know me, but I started commenting on her blog. And then I started following her on YouTube. And what she did was, she has a huge following. She's got like 80,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Whoa.
And she put a challenge to her audience. And she said, I want to know, why haven't you started your YouTube channel yet? I want you to send me a video response, because YouTube didn't used to have this. They don't have it now, but they used to have this option called a video response. So you could directly respond. It would show up in the comment section. Oh, I know I'm going way back. This, like I said,
That was cool.
2009.
I wish I still had that.
And hundreds of us sent her back replies.
Mm-hmm.
But it was then that I got over the whole concept of, am I good enough to get on camera? Of course, I was worried about my hair. Was my hair right? My lighting, but I didn't have good lighting, and I didn't have all that, but it didn't matter.
Yeah, just start, right?
I got on, and then I got the YouTube bug.
Mm-hmm.
So bringing up to today, now through the years, Lisa and I have become friends. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I've even interviewed her on the blog, and she's often on my YouTube channel, leaving comments and, giving me great feedback and all that. So we're buddies now. And
That's
it's just
great.
so ironic that I just admired her from afar. She was like a god to me, like a goddess,
Mm-hmm.
a YouTube
That's
goddess.
wonderful.
And now we're buds, and I can email her if I need something or whatever. And so she was doing some tutorials about YouTube as well, but also more so about being a webmaster and making money online, and also graphic design, because Lisa actually knows how to build websites from
Mm-hmm.
scratch by hand, not when you just install WordPress. So anyway, I started picking up on some of those YouTube tips. And then I started finding other YouTube gurus, not just Lisa, Tim Schmoyer, Daryl Eves, Owen Hemsath, which is Owen Video, a bunch of guys, Roberto Blake. And as I started learning from them, I said, well, you know what? I want to put my spin on this whole YouTube, how to grow a channel on YouTube, how to use the tools that YouTube provides, because I don't think people really appreciate the tools that they have on YouTube. Because, everybody's doing Facebook now, and they don't know, like with this live thing, I've been doing YouTube Live since 2011.
Wow.
Know?
Now let's do a bit of backtracking, and let's take advantage of the fact that you have been doing this for years. Now, I've been doing TV Skywriter, I think, for maybe 4 or 5 years. Started out on Google Plus, and talk about lighting. Boy, I had terrible lighting. I had a super slow internet, and I was basically just this beige blob. And it wasn't until I got turbo speed internet and a better camera, and learned how to surround myself with lamps and lights, that I started at least trying to do a more than decent show. But let's go back. What does it take for a person to get over their initial fear and talk in front of a camera online? Which is what live streaming is all about. A lot of people, they say that only like maybe 2% of the people on Periscope actually broadcast. Most of them watch and wish.
Well,
so, yeah.
I think one of the great things is when you can collaborate with other people. People have this fear that, okay, what if nobody shows up? What if it's just me? Okay. So there's that fear. Then they're also worried about the way they look and all that stuff too. But when you know that you have someone with you, and you're not going to be alone, if you're worried about the technology, you have somebody who can help you there. That's why I love the fact that there's all these interview platforms, like even on Facebook now, you can bring somebody else on and all that. And their technology has gotten a lot easier to do that now. So I think that also people have to get over that fear that they're going to mess up. Because guess what? Your very first live stream, you're going to mess up.
Sure. Second, third.
Accept it and move on. Just like when you were learning how to ride a bike when you were a kid, right? Your mom or your dad let you go and you fell. And then you got up and got back on, and then you learned how to ride a bike.
Now I started, when it comes to broadcast, I did start out on radio, and I was scared. I wrote out every word that I uttered, and I was shaky and I was nervous, but I got through it. I learned to pretend that I was only talking to my sister Cookie, and that's what helped me get through it. I just pretended that only Cookie was listening to me, and I spoke to her. And it's pretty much the same with online, with the camera bit, with be it Periscope or Facebook Live or whatever. Pretend like you're talking to someone you know. And to me, that makes it easier.
Just get comfortable. And for those of you who, have a little libation, maybe just a little half a glass of wine, just to get a little.
You don't want to be too loose now.
Right. That's why I said half a glass.
Okay.
I don't drink. So I'm just saying that, a lot of times it's just nerves. And like I said, that's why I love the fact that you can do this on your phone now. Because I think when people realize that, hey, all I have to really do is push that button. And, so there's not a big production about things now. So you're seeing a lot more people actually go ahead and take that leap and go live, even though, they may not be broadcasting or saying anything that's worth of any value, but they're actually going through that process of getting on cam. And then as time goes by, hopefully they'll start to add value and realize that how important it is to add value to any of your live broadcasts. So I just absolutely love live video now. It's been a way to connect. Like, for example, you and I met that way, and a lot of our other friends. I have to give a shout out to our Work and Focus group over on Facebook.
Pam and Fraser
and
Robert.
Yeah, and Pam and Bo and and Alfredo. So we all help each other out with our projects and things, and it's just really been a wonderful way for us to connect. And we use another platform called appear.in, where you can go in privately and just collaborate with one another.
Actually, that's a good way to practice too. Let's throw that out there, folks. Appear.in. It is I guess, would you call it live streaming? But it's like private live streaming.
Group chat.
Is that the right phrase?
Group video chat. And actually, I have a tutorial on my YouTube channel.
Of course,
to show you how to do it.
How can we find your videos, Ileane?
Actually, if you guys want to see the videos that I have specifically about live streaming, I put them all into a playlist, and I'm going to give you this link where you can get to the playlist. Okay. It's my name, which is Ileane, ILEANE.link/live. So I'll say that again, ILEANE.link, LINK/live. And that will take you right to my website where I have the playlist with all the live streaming video tutorials.
Okay. Now, for those who might think that, oh, this is easy, just talking in front of a camera, you can get as detailed and serious as you want, right? I mean, there are advanced programs, for example. Well, I call them advanced, but correct me if I say it, but what is it, W or UBS or W? What is that?
Oh, okay.
Wirecast.
A lot of folks like to use the third-party apps.
Yes.
For example, if you remember the platform that we're using right now, which is Hangouts on Air, which is inside of YouTube Live, there used to be a thing called lower thirds where you could bring up your lower third. And a lot of people are really stuck on that they want to have that lower third. They feel like gung-ho. They must have their branding. I'm not so much hung up on that, but
I do miss it, though.
A lot of folks are. Beg your pardon, Pat?
I do miss
you miss it. Okay. Well, here, really quickly, here's my philosophy on that. You're already watching me. What more do I want?
I know, but somebody stumbling across is going to say, "Ooh, who's that?"
Right. So even if they say, "Ooh, who's that?" and they look and they see your thing, are they going to what? Write it down? I don't know. I just feel like, okay, yeah, it's nice to have.
Yeah.
But It's not.
Media folks like those identifiers, but
yeah. But in any event, bottom line, what I was reaching or leading up to about OBS is an open source piece of software that you download onto your computer that allows you to add graphics and overlays and bring in different screens and all of that. So there's also more expensive tools that do similar things and more advanced things as well. And one of the primary ones that folks like to use is called Wirecast. And that's, like I said, much more expensive. We're talking like $500 for the software. But the OBS, because it's an open source project, which means that anybody can contribute to it, and the code is open so that people can build tools on top of it, and it'll always be free. And that OBS is one that a lot of our friends use, and you can use it on Mac and on PC.
Okay. I will probably never use those, but I do want to mention a couple of things for people who are watching this show who, like many people, haven't ventured yet into live streaming. So I wanted to mention Periscope. Periscope is wonderful in that it was designed for you to show people your world. And I love it because I've been able to visit Pakistan, Easter Island, Australia, Kenya, South Africa, simply by watching people on Periscope. You can show, I have actually stood on my front porch showing a rainstorm and gotten hundreds of viewers. It's crazy. Speaking to people from around the world is very exciting. And if you're a professional, of course, you can work on your, by promoting your business and you can do that too, of course.
Actually, we have our friend Sabrina Cadini. She's in the chat and she's saying that the lower thirds can help, and also that she uses OBS along with her periscopes.
Wow. Okay. Periscope is awesome. It really is. And another thing I want to mention, most of us know about Facebook, but still a lot of us don't know that you can actually go on camera live on Facebook. It was a long time coming. It was highly anticipated. It's called Facebook Live, and can you go on it from your laptop yet? Because I use my phone.
You can do it from your desktop.
Desktop is what I meant. Yeah, so you can go to your, I guess, I forget how to check for it. On my phone, I go to my profile.
I think most people have it, unless you're in a country that it hasn't rolled out to yet. But most users have it. Probably more people have it than people that don't have it. And you just log on to Facebook and you'll see the little camera and the little icon that says live.
Yeah, I mean, if you're used to typing out something, for the day's message or the morning's message, and you haven't really noticed that little camera, you can actually go online live with that, and it's really, really fun. Also, I have not experimented with it yet, but you can actually bring in a guest now on Facebook and have a two-person conversation just like we're having now. That was very exciting when it was first rolled out. Also, I heard that I thought that Twitter bought Periscope. So in essence, Periscope is kind of like Twitter Live, but I heard that Twitter is going to have a different live streaming app associated with it. Do you know anything about that?
I'm not sure if you're referring to the fact that we saw something on Facebook, because I noticed that you commented that they were going to have some brands that were going to be going live. And I think you commented and said, how's that different from Periscope? Well, the difference is that they're brands, and that they've made deals with Twitter to, so when you go to the homepage, you're going to see these different brands. And I don't know how they're going to structure that in terms of certain times of day. Because right now, certain brands and news outlets, you will see them live on Twitter either before you even log in or over on the sidebar when you're on desktop. I'm not sure how that works on the phone. But I guess this is the stuff that they're going to iron out. Maybe they're going to put a message there or some kind of a notification to let you know such and such a brand is live now.
Mhm. Now, give us some ideas for people who are saying, this sounds kind of interesting, but I'm not sure what I would talk about. Give us some examples of how people can live stream from Facebook, from Twitter, Periscope or whatever. Give us some ideas as to why people might want to live stream.
Well, I would say the first broadcast you do should be sort of your introduction, telling people who you are, why you're online, or why they should care about any of the content and look forward to your future broadcasts. Then from there, you can start to answer questions that you commonly get. Now, what if you say, well, I don't really have any questions. People don't ask me anything. Well, follow some other live streamers and see some of the questions that they're asking, they're being asked all day long. You're seeing questions popping up on Facebook. Share your viewpoint on a particular topic. It depends upon what kind of content you're going to be focused on. So remember to stay on brand. You don't want to just talk about something frivolous if
Sure.
That's not your brand. However, if that's your brand, then do that. So you can, source ideas from watching other popular live streamers who have audiences that are making comments. Like there's comments coming in now. Hey, and my friend Larry Snow is here. Hey, Larry. And so you can watch on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Periscope and see some of those questions that are coming in if you don't have your audience. And in the meantime, you're going to start building your audience and you're going to start getting questions. So what you need to first figure out is what's going to be your goal for going live. Are you going to try to spread awareness about your business, if you are a business person, or if you're just going to be doing a show, or if you have a cause or some kind of a charity or nonprofit that you want to promote? You want to just have a goal in mind, and then that way it'll keep your content on brand. So that you're not just floundering all over the place talking about all different kinds of things and saying, what am I doing here? So.
Now, there's two things that people should be concerned about. I'm not trying to scare anyone away, but a lot of people are afraid to go on, especially women, because of what we call trolls. There are various ways of dealing with trolls because there are so many different platforms. So with something like Periscope, there are ways to block them. It's understandable. Some people are just silly and they make silly comments, and you can get rid of them easily. You don't let them keep you from live streaming just because they're being rude or ugly. Just get rid of them. And the other thing I'm a little concerned about, children. There are a lot of kids who are online and people are approaching them. I think if you're a parent or guardian of a young person who has a smartphone, teach them how to use it carefully and be aware that the kids are online. When they're supposed to be sleeping, sometimes they're online goofing around. And I just think there are ways of dealing with that. Some parents take their kids' phone away at night and say, I'm going to charge them in my bedroom, go to sleep. Otherwise they will be up all night goofing around and being approached by weird strangers. And that's a concern that parents, grandparents, and people who might not be technologically savvy need to know if their kids have access to the internet. Just be aware and just keep your eye out for trouble, and teach them their boundaries. It's very important. Very, very important. Yeah. Now, I wanted to talk just a tiny little bit about YouTube, because you are a super expert also in this field of growing a YouTube channel. Could you give us a hint or two? Some of us put out videos every now and then. Some of us go live on YouTube, which is still relatively new. Some of us have been doing videos for a long time and uploading them to YouTube. So how do we get attention on YouTube? How do we get people to find us and to watch our videos?
Wow. It's almost like any other, like a blog or anything that you're doing online. Like I said earlier, you want to start with your goals. What's your key metric, reason why you're on YouTube? Do you just want to spread awareness? Then let people know what it is you're going to be talking about on your channel. You make a trailer video or an introduction video, and you also have key assets on your YouTube channel, like your banner. So you have a header. You want to have your graphics there with your branding. And if you have a consistent uploading schedule, you want to let people know how often or when you're going to be uploading. Then the same way with your videos. You want to remind folks as you're going through with your content. Like, for example, for you, Pat, you often, or most of the time, you do your show on Sunday night at 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
You can let people know. We'll be back here next Sunday at 7 p.m. And if you happen to know who the guest is, of course, you can announce it. So in other words, you set up that expectation from your subscribers so that they know, okay, she's going to be on next Sunday. So I got to, look out for that. But, in the meantime, you also want to be checking your analytics as you're building up your portfolio of content. Let's say by the time you've got your 10th or 15th video, you can start to look at your analytics and see where people are watching, where they're leaving your video, what keywords.
What do you mean where they're leaving your video? How good are these analytics?
YouTube analytics will show you where people are watching your video, where the watches drop off.
Ooh, really?
Comes back up. Like, let's just say, for example, something happened, like somebody came, knocked on the door, and I said, oh my gosh, wait, everybody, I'll be back in 5 minutes. Right? And then when you go watch the replay, you look and it's like, well, 5 minutes. It was just like,
after people left.
Yeah. So my point was to go into your analytics, find out your demographics, find out who you're appealing to. They'll tell you if it's males and females and what age bracket they're in,
wow, really?
What devices they're on. Do you know if most people are watching on desktop or are they on their phones?
Okay, now why does it matter?
It does matter when you're talking about, let's say, for example, earlier we were talking about lower thirds, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you find out that 80% of your audience is on their desktop, they probably can't even read your lower third. It's too small.
Okay.
Right? Okay, so, or whatever, maybe you're demonstrating something. Like, for example, with myself, I do a lot of tutorials, and I have to remind myself, because I'm showing people how to do things online. Mm-hmm. I have to remember, make it bigger, make the screen bigger, zoom in so people can see what I'm talking about. Because even though it looks fine to me because I'm on desktop, but if somebody's watching me on their phone, they have no idea where my little cursor is on the screen, right?
Okay.
So, that's something that I always have to work on. But watching those analytics will kind of give you signals of where you might be failing or serving your audience appropriately. So get some content out there, optimize your titles, make sure that your titles have the keywords at the front of the title. For example, in this particular video, and I can tell you, Pat, when you post this video, I know that people are on YouTube searching for my name. Mm-hmm. And you know why? Because I always say it and I always spell it. Right?
Right. So, because it's an unusual spelling.
Because people used to always search for Ileane the other way. The regular way that most people spell Ileane. And I would see that in my analytics. And that And a couple years ago, I started saying, you know, I need to tell people how to spell my name. Don't assume, okay, because I've got my lower third there, that anybody's literally writing that down like, oh, yeah, Ileane. No. But now I know because they're finding me and because I tell people, just go to YouTube and search for Ileane.
I gotcha. Okay.
Put that in you want to make sure that's front and center. Interview with Miss Ileane talking about YouTube.
Awesome. Okay. Now we only have a couple of minutes, but I want to ask you, Ileane, about your analytics. So I can imagine it probably took a long time to go from 0 to maybe, I don't know, a couple hundred. But at what point did you catch on to the point where your popularity skyrocketed? I mean, 5,000 subscribers is pretty remarkable. Can you tell by your analytics what happened to make you suddenly take off?
Yeah, I can. But before I answer that, I do want to acknowledge Larry over the comments is acknowledging what you said earlier about kids, because he said he struggles because he has a daughter and she's online right now. And also Larry is saying that 78% of his folks are on desktop. And see, Larry, he pays attention to his analytics. And so he knows, but he still zooms in anyway, because he does a similar content like I do. He does a lot of tutorials. So now, I mentioned this earlier to answer your question. I mentioned this earlier, but I want to reinforce it because I'm glad you asked that question. When I found out that I was going to be speaking at Social Media Marketing World, I went onto this site called Social Blade. And Social Blade kind of tries to predict how long it's going to take a person to reach a certain milestone. And it told me that I wasn't going to reach 5,000 subscribers until sometime in the summer of this year. And I said, no, that's not right. I'm going to have to fix that, because I wanted to have 5,000, even though it didn't even matter. You know, it's not like I even mentioned my subscriber count when I was at Social Media Marketing World, but in my mind, that's what I wanted. So I intentionally increased my publishing schedule so that every single week I have at least one video.
And it made that much of a difference.
Absolutely. I was able to reach that 5,000 before the end of the year, or it was around New Year's. And Social Blade has been tracking my stats for years. And they said, based on her trajectory of growth over the last 5 years, she's not going to reach that until the summer. But because I increased my publishing schedule, not only that, I was very intentional about letting people know that I would be publishing every week. And this is what I'm advising all of you guys to do, or however often it's going to be. Because I got to be honest with you guys, there's hundreds of millions, actually it's probably a couple billion hours of content being uploaded to YouTube on a daily basis. So if you don't upload to YouTube for a couple weeks, they think you forgot about them.
I thought you died or something.
They want you uploading consistently. And even the new statistics that are out, and Larry and I talked about this already, Larry Snow, who's in the chat, that they even want us to publish more than once a week.
Okay.
More than once a week, in order for our stuff to be seen, in order for us to get more visibility. And so that when people go to that YouTube home screen, that they see, oh, this creator, you've watched her videos before. You probably want to see this one. She just published 2 days ago.
It comes up in your recommended list, in other words.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, one thing I have to say, I have another show called Bull City Notes. Every day I go online, Facebook Live usually, and sometimes on Periscope. And I tell you what's happening today in Durham, North Carolina. And I have to tell you, since really concentrating on that and doing more videos, my readership doubled in 1 month.
Absolutely.
I mean, readership of the Durham Skywriter, which is my main bread and butter. Durham's North. What's the tagline? Durham, North Carolina's online community paper. Readership doubled this month.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was like in awe. And I think it's because of the concerted effort of doing a show every day and also doing more videos. Now, as far as consistency, besides Bull City Notes, it's not easy to know. It's not easy to tell people when I'm going to be on next, though. Does that matter? Because I just pop up.
Well, it can matter. And I tell you what I do, because I have that issue as well. I have that challenge. I won't even call it an issue. It's a challenge. And what I tell people is that I will publish a video every weekend. I don't say it's going to be Saturday at 2 p.m. I give myself the whole weekend.
No pressure. I like that. I like
you
that.
know, and that's okay, because most folks that, they're starting to get used to that rhythm. So sometimes I have done it on Saturday and sometimes I've done it on Sunday. Now, I probably would have done it on Sunday this week. However, I knew I was going to have this interview with you today. So I was like, yesterday, I said, let me just go live and get that in the books. But I had also done a video on Thursday. So see, I'm even ramping up my schedule, even to the point of doing 2 videos a week. So what I would recommend is sharing it out on Twitter as much as you can, or your Facebook, wherever your people are, on your social media sites, so that once you do know that time that you're going to go live, let those folks know. Because a lot of times it's people that subscribe to you on YouTube. They're also going to be your friends on Facebook, or your Twitter followers, or whatever other platform you use. Okay. So if you can't mention it in your previous video, then make sure you're connected with people during the week. And if you have an email list, of course, send it to your email list.
Okay. Oh, one more thing, Ileane, and this is advice to everyone watching this. How can I put this? Okay, so I'm doing the show, right? Bull City Notes. I'm telling people in Durham what's happening in our city. It wasn't until I started asking them to share it out that it started getting shared out. And also, I would get more viewers that way. A couple of people, like Don, there's a gentleman named Don John here in Durham, and he usually would share out my show. But since I started asking people to share this out, I'm noticing a lot of people are sharing. When I say share it out, that means putting it on links to Twitter and Facebook and all that kind of stuff, which is really, really cool. And another thing that I'm doing, which I hope everybody can benefit from, is so I'm doing the show every day. I'm just about every day. Interview people, ask people to share things out. And there's one more thing I forgot just that quick. I forget.
But
I'll think of it. I'll think of it.
Yeah, they think the key thing is it's called a call to action. You may call it CTAs, right? So if your call to action is to make sure people share your content, then maybe in the middle of the show or after things got rolling, you say, guys, can you please share this out?
And they will.
And they'll do it. But now with the call to action, guys, be sparing with how many calls to action you give people to do. So let's just say whenever we wrap this video up, you don't want to say, subscribe to me on YouTube, come back next week, follow me on Twitter, check me on Facebook because I'm doing Bull City Notes. Do this, do that, because then people do nothing.
Yeah.
You don't want to give them too many calls to action. But I would say, especially with live video, is beautiful because you can give a call to action every few minutes. Let's just say every 5 minutes. You can say, well, guys, if you want to connect with me on Twitter, be sure to do that. Then you have some more content. You deliver more value. And then you say, and the YouTube subscribe button is right over here, So you can work it in because you're offering value. You're providing great content for people, and they've already done that thing you told them to do in the first 5 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you don't want to just rattle off a bunch of calls to action at one time. So I just want people to be cautious about telling people exactly what you want them to do in clumps.
Right. And I did remember the last thing that I wanted to mention, and that is I started experimenting with Facebook ads. And I would only spend just a couple of dollars, but it made a huge difference. I think that also led to more people checking out the Durham Skywriter. Because I think that the Facebook ads, they really work. You don't have to spend a lot of money, just a couple of dollars.
The key, from what I understand, is the targeting. And so because you can target people that have liked your page, and most of the people that have liked your page are probably from Durham or people that are interested in what's happening in Durham. So the targeting is very key. You don't want to do an ad in your case because you're in Durham, right? You don't want to do an ad that goes out to everybody in the US.
Oh, no.
Because people in Washington, D.C.,
they don't care.
They don't care. Or maybe they might say, oh, that's nice. But
well, I do have a lot of followers in my hometown in Chicago.
Exactly.
But that's not a problem.
That's the targeting that, really makes the difference.
Yeah, so I highly recommend that people at least check that out. A lot of people don't want to spend money on Facebook. They're like, oh, God, not another expenditure, but it's just a couple of dollars. Just experiment. I don't think I've ever paid more than $3.
Mm-hmm.
And it's made a tremendous difference.
I did one this weekend. I did one this past week. Actually, it was for my daughter. My daughter, she also does live video, and she does web design, all that. And she did this live video the other day that was so good. I just couldn't help but hit that boost button. I was like,
you did? Okay.
That was a good video. I just want more people to see it.
Oh, tell us another benefit, Ileane, because that was another reason you wanted to get your subscribers up. And that is when you reach a certain number, you get something called Super Chat when you're on YouTube Live, and then people can pay you money.
Yes. This is something that they rolled out, I would say in the last 6 months, that if you have 1,000 subscribers, you don't even need 5,000. You only need 1,000.
Just once. Okay.
You can be eligible so that when you go live, people can give you tips and, or support you by increments of, it starts from $1. And if they give you $5, then the comment that they make will stay pinned at the top of the chat. Now, the most that people can give you is $500. So it goes from $1 up to $500. But at $5, the perks start kicking in, where that person's comment gets pinned, and the length of time will be extended based on how much they chat you.
And it's actually fun because you pay with PayPal. And I've experimented with that, with you.
You pay with PayPal? I thought you had to. Oh, you have a PayPal credit card? Because I thought you had to have a credit card.
Well, it's through PayPal for me. Yeah. Okay. So I do have a card, PayPal card.
Good. Okay, that's
connected to my PayPal account.
Yeah. Because see, I have PayPal, but I don't have a PayPal credit card, so I can't pay through PayPal. I use my American Express. Because that's what's connected to my Google account.
I suggest I'm not trying to tell you to do it, but I mean, if you do have PayPal, it is good to have a PayPal debit card as well, or credit card or whatever. It's really a good idea. It just makes life a little easier. And it's really fun giving people tips on YouTube because, it's just fun. It's like showing appreciation, it's fun, and then the person is happy, and it just makes the show that more enjoyable.
Yeah.
So I wanted to also read a couple of comments because now about the reach when you're paying for an ad on Facebook, he's absolutely right. What I click on is friends of people who liked my Durham Skywriter page, and that is how specific I am. People who've liked my page, and that's a very big deal. You don't want to pay for everybody in the entire United States or the world, because that's I don't know if everybody needs to see your messaging. Now, if you don't mind, Larry mentioned end screen. If you don't mind, I know it's almost time to go. It is past time to go. But if you don't mind, could you tell us the benefit of using end screens when you're making YouTube videos?
Yes, I will, because it's one of my favorite features. And this is one thing that makes YouTube stand out ahead of Facebook, because Facebook's video platform is somewhat immature, whereas YouTube's platform, the infrastructure is really built out because it's been around so long. So they used to have this thing called annotations, where you could put a link and we could make a little box here that would say, click on this to go to my website. Okay, but the problem was those did not work on mobile because they were flash based. So in the last year, YouTube has replaced those annotations with two different elements. One of them is called a YouTube card that can be placed anywhere in your video. You'll see, actually would be on this side. You will see a little round icon with an eye, and it's sort of to indicate that it's more information. You click on that and you could have a subscribe button. You could have a watch this particular video. Let's say we referenced another video, or go to my website, or whatever. You can apply those cards. Now, the end screens is a unique form of cards that only comes up in the last 20 seconds of your video. Or is it 10 seconds, Larry? You always correct me on that.
It's 20.
At the very end of your video, they call them end screens, where YouTube will give you the option to have a link to one of your videos, or one of anyone's video on YouTube, or to a playlist. It's the last 20 seconds. Thank you, Larry. And once you have linked to a video or a playlist, you have other options where you can also link to your website, or like for myself, it would be my Patreon page, or your subscribe button, or one of your friends' subscribe button.
I think you can also have them download an ebook, right?
You can link them to your website where they could download an ebook. Yes. Yep. So as long as it's approved website. So the end screens have been very good for me. And also Larry has seen some success with them, because the annotations, like I said, they didn't work on mobile, but also I think people saw them as an annoyance, a little bit more like a pop-up. Because people tended to like put this box, you could make it any size you want, whereas the card is only a really small little circle that will appear on the side of the screen. But at the end of the video, the end screens, there are little rectangles that will represent your video, or the circle to represent your subscribe button. But it's not intrusive because, first of all, it's the end of the video.
Right. I also like how in the last 20 seconds your logo shows up at the bottom of the screen, like a watermark. I like that.
The watermark, yeah, you can make that show up at different time intervals. It doesn't have to be just the last 20 seconds, but yes.
Yeah.
You can do
that. So Ileane, I know it's really late for you because you have one of those jobs where you have to be up at before the crack of dawn, right?
Well, it's not so much my job. That's just my schedule. I like to go to bed early, so I can get up early and do my stuff on the internet before I go to work.
I got it. So it's not just the job. Okay. Ileane, thank you so much for being on TV Skywriter. And I'd like to have you back again because you are just a font of knowledge. Seriously.
I really appreciate the opportunity for the interview, Pat. I'm so glad that live streaming has brought us together, because who would have ever thought that we would be so cool and hanging out with each other all the time? But it's because of live video.
Absolutely. And tell us again how we can find your wonderful tutorials, because I'm still catching up. You keep putting them out. I don't know if I'll ever catch up.
Okay, well, the best thing to do to find all of my information is to go to my website, IleaneSmith.com.
IleaneSmith.com. And spell Ileane, please.
IleaNe.
There you go, IleaneSmith.com. And with that, thank you to Larry and Sabrina and anybody else who's watching. And of course, there will be a replay. I will add credits. And Ileane, if you don't mind, email me or send me through Facebook what you'd like for me to put in the following, in the ending credits. So I can do that. Okay. Okay, folks. So if you would like to be a guest on TV Skywriter, just write to me, Durham Skywriter at gmail.com. Let's talk about it. Obviously, you don't have to be from Durham because Ileane is in Pennsylvania. So I've talked to people from around the world. Fraser's in Scotland. He's been on my show. Pam has been on my show. She's in the Bahamas. So if you want to be on, contact me and let's talk. With that, have a beautiful evening, and I will see you later. Ciao for now, and thanks again, Ileane.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.